Success in farming is all about precision and efficiency, ensuring every seed, every drop of water, every nutrient and treatment counts. Terraplex Ag is helping farmers all over Iowa and the Midwest do just that. With precision ag-grown technology and support from Terraplex, you'll boost your productivity and make timely and informed decisions, all while reducing your costs and increasing your profit. It's time to revolutionize your farming. Harvest the benefits with Terraplex Ag. Visit TerraplexAg.com.
My name is Joseph Hurst. I live in Ankeny, Iowa, and I'm a part of the PMBA program. I currently work as the Director of Sales at Stony Creek Hotels in Johnston, Iowa, and I chose the Iowa State MBA program because it just made perfect sense. About 2 years ago, I started this wonderful program, and I couldn't imagine not having done it. What has helped the most balance work, life, school, has been the people I'm in class with. It's great to go through questions, problems, study for tests, and it just makes the whole class so much easier. As a working professional thinking about doing an MBA program, I get night classes aren't everybody's dream. I get after a long day of work, you may not want to go do more, but it's worth it. You're gonna learn a lot, not just from the professors in the program, but from the other students. They come from all walks of life. They are from different age groups, they're from different companies, they're from all kinds of different backgrounds, they've got all kinds of different stories. And after 2 years, I've made some of the best friends I've ever made, learned the most I've ever learned, and I can't imagine what we're gonna do after we're done.
Chris Williams, Brent Blum, from the Wild Rose Casino Studio. It's Williams and Blum, presented by Mechdyne, on the Cyclone Fanatic Podcast Network.
What's up? It is Wednesday, the 2nd of October. Williams and Blum here in the Wild Rose Casino Studios. We are presented by Mechdyne. That is spelled MECHDYNE.com. How are you, Brent?
I'm great. Great. I get to play golf later this afternoon, so that always puts me in a good mood.
But you always are working hard for us.
Donors like to golf. The portal opens on December 7th, so we're trying to play some golf and raise some dollars.
Man, these collective guys. I'm continuing on from last week. I'm still reading that book about
the Armin Katayan book.
Really good chapter on collectives.
Can you just walk it over and I'll read it?
Well, no, because I'm not done with it yet.
Okay.
Or you could just put me in a cheap ass and buy it. Probably a tax write-off for you.
It's possible.
Really good chapter on collectives about, like, there's some bad actors, but the bullshit thing of all this is that they saved the day and they bailed everybody out, and then these athletic departments and conferences are just going to kick them to the curb afterwards, and then they're all going to have to go and find other things to do. It's really interesting.
Yeah, I mean,
that I know that's a broad statement.
It is. That I think for the good of the sport, there needs to be regulation.
Don't disagree.
Yeah.
It's just an interesting...
The collectives sometimes get a bad...
They've gotten a bad rap, but they were the only ones doing anything.
Right. I would rather collectives be doing it than these one-off, car dealers. And nothing against car dealers, but you know what I'm saying? Like the...
Yeah. No, I get what you mean. It's just an interesting look at it. It's a different...
And then ultimately now, guys, most of the people in the collective space are former athletics employees anyway at their respective places. So there really isn't a huge line. Now, there are some collectives that have issues, clearly, and grateful for the team at Iowa State and our relationship. And they're still...
I feel like this one is a lot less toxic than, man, some of the stuff I'm reading about around the country.
Well, and then the issue with some collectives, and this is not an NIL show, is they've got multiple collectives still.
Yeah.
And so the collectives are squabbling over...
Who do we work with?
It's like a turf war. Like, oh, no, that's our side of the street. So thankful for Iowa State, and we could still use your support. WeWillCollective.com. The portal opens December 7th.
Thought of another thing, too, and I don't know if you're going to want me to say it, but I'm going to. Because I don't understand how this game isn't sold out.
Nobody's listening.
Only 15,000. I don't understand how this game isn't sold out. And it's really disappointing. But then I was thinking about it this morning. It's like, you know what? Maybe we've hit the limit of asking fans to do too much. Maybe this is the sign.
Very possible.
Ticket prices aren't cheaper.
They're not.
Water in the stadium isn't cheaper. Parking isn't cheaper. we need you to pay the players now, right? Like, I
Totally understand.
Have we hit that point? And I'm not being critical of anyone. I'm saying as an industry, and I'm a part of that too. We ask for subscription dollars and right? Have we reached that point? I don't know. Because, like, I cannot understand how this game isn't sold out. It is boggling my mind.
Be interested to hear from the fans.
Yeah.
What?
Maybe that's
listen, I looked at my ticket account. I realized yesterday I don't have tickets.
Buy your tickets.
Well, I did. So I went and bought tickets. But it's not like...
It's expensive. I saw a bunch of guys, and I completely agree with you. Because usually when I buy tickets to somewhere, I just go onto, like, StubHub. When I went to the Vikings game with you, it's like, I'll just go on Stub. And the fees are out of control.
It's out of control. I
just wonder, is this our sign? Like, here locally, like, maybe we hit the point. I don't know.
Definitely Iowa State will not be expanding the stadium anymore. That's a fact.
Yeah.
Iowa State has grown attendance-wise, but season ticket sales dropped off this year. Part of it could be the schedule, but you might be onto something here. And this is why
I don't know.
TV. And by the way, the TV viewing experience has never been better. So there are these
inflation,
things.
the economy,
up 100%.
It's all real.
Where college athletics is kind of in this weird space that it's good that Iowa State's good right now. Because if you're bad, you're Houston, and there was 10,000, 15,000 people there.
Yeah.
Everybody's downsizing now. Nobody's upsizing their stadiums.
Mm-hmm. And that's across sports, too, 100%. For the most part.
Yeah.
Like, I'm a big NASCAR guy. Like, none of these newer tracks are... Like, it used to be that the Iowa Speedway wasn't big enough to host a cup race. Now it's just right. Like that type of stuff.
And then
the
lack of attention span
Yeah.
is a huge thing.
It was somebody in the industry, and we were texting about this yesterday, and it just got me, because he was asking me, he's like, what do you think it is? He goes, do you think if they sold beer? I was like, no, I don't think it's that simple. I do think they should, because it's just, you may as well give your fans all the amenities that they want at this point, in my opinion, but whatever. I'm not getting into that. The people up at Iowa State they have way more information. I'm not going to fight with them about that. Because he's asking me these questions, and I didn't really have answers, because I'm shocked that this game isn't sold out. And hopefully it gets there.
It's closing in.
Yeah, it's 9 o'clock on Wednesday, so hopefully it gets there.
And encourage you all to...
In my mind, like, I'm just on the outside looking in. I do pay. My wife pays for tickets, so my wife and daughters have season tickets, so I'm a part of this, even though I don't physically pay for mine. And my whole family does. Parents do, in-laws, everything. Yep. So we're doing our part. Don't yell at me for that. Going to be women's basketball season ticket holders for the first time. Daughters are very excited about this. I didn't have an answer, and I was like, in my mind, being 4-0 at this point, with everything in front of it, I think might be Campbell's best team. The talent was better on 21, but they underperformed. And 20 is hard.
20 was a weird season.
Yeah. I think I think 20 was indicative of how well Matt's program is run, because he kept everybody together. And, like, to me, like, you saw Harbaugh fall off that year where they had a lot of talent, but clearly they weren't a disciplined program, right, during that time, and whatever. In my mind, the rest of the season should be sold out. Like, already.
We have spent 50 years to get to this exact scenario.
So
I guess as a fan, why not? And if it's purely economical, total respect.
It might be.
It's probably the case. And then obviously the harvest, everything. But at the same time, you're an Iowa State fan for life 4 years like this.
Yeah.
And I don't know.
Pull out the American Express.
I mean, life's about experiences.
Yeah. It's
and
fascinating.
It's not me to tell people how to spend their money, but this is why we've put in with the years of misery to get to years like this. So might as well enjoy it in person.
We're sickos, man. Like, we live for this. This is literally our lives revolve around this. We're not just making, like, our entire family's schedules are based on Iowa State. It is, like Bill Finley always says, the family business, and that's kind of what we've gotten ourselves into in this situation. So we don't have necessarily a realistic day-to-day casual fan perspective.
Absolutely.
And I understand that. I'm not being critical of anyone here. I'm literally thinking, like, have we hit the point? And I don't know. I hope that it sells out, and I don't know.
It's a great question. I will say there was one extra seat that will be filled on Saturday, and it's going to get a little windy on Saturday night.
Oh, a little windy, eh?
A little windy. Coach Mack in the house. Perfect timing.
Can't beat that, man.
You can't beat that. So Coach Mack getting into town. He's going to, I think, talk to the men's basketball team, the women's basketball team, and then he'll be there game day to beat the Bears.
Love that. Always a great time when Mac comes to town. Want to talk about this Big Ten SEC thing before we get into our Big 12 previews and the Iowa State Baylor preview.
I think, according to Ticketmaster, by the way, there's like 500 tickets left.
Oh,
I don't know if that's
I heard
accurate.
On Tuesday, 58,000 were sold.
Okay.
So, but I don't know how accurate that is. That was just what somebody told me. But I looked on Ticketmaster. We did that together, and it didn't look like there were that many left. So hopefully they're going to announce a sellout before you guys even listen.
Should be
to
a
this.
perfect night for football.
Yeah. Let's knock out a couple of sponsors here real quick, and then we'll get into this. Our friends at the Iowa State University Foundation, of course, movewhatmatters.com. And we will be talking about them as we lead up to Forever True Day 2025, which is just around the corner. I do have a little hint. You know my love for the marching band. I give every year to the marching band through my donations to the Iowa State University Foundation.
We're a pro band podcast.
May or may not have some really cool band merchandise that I am designing myself.
Team band right here.
Team band.
I bought my tickets for the Baylor game purposely to be near the band.
Well, of course.
4-year-old loves the band.
Yeah, I mean, it's the best part of the game day experience.
4-year-old does not care how the Cyclones do. 4-year-old wants to be by the band.
Does he know there's a drone show?
I haven't leaked that yet.
Your 4-year-old will be all about the drone show. Oh, my gosh. Your 4-year-old is like a 4-year-old version of my dad.
He's a machine head.
He loves trucks.
Yes.
He loves
and
cars.
I'm not at all.
He's going to think it's awesome.
He is so excited for the band.
He has an inflated view of me because I have the truck I drive. Yes. He thinks I'm cool because of the Cyclone truck.
Maybe is that what I need then?
Yeah, maybe. Would you be able to drive that thing?
I don't know.
You'd be just fine. Also want to thank my friends at Game Day Men's Health. I go to Game Day Men's Health in Ankeny. There's also a location in West Des Moines, North Liberty. But I was just cutting some spots for them that are going to air all over the market and about how they've literally helped change my life, feel so much better than I did a year ago. Lost a lot of weight, and my muscle mass is way higher. Go and get your testosterone checked with them today. It's so much fun. I was telling Aiden this yesterday. Every time I go in there, there's a podcast listener.
That's
and
crazy.
They'll just come up and talk to me about, their journey and all that. Really, really cool stuff. Game Day Men's Health. Shout out to my guy, Bill Morris, and his whole crew over there, specifically at the Ankeny spot. They take good care of me. All right. The Big Ten and the SEC are meeting next week.
They're at it again.
Well, it's funny. If you didn't listen to the last 15 minutes of Sunday's pod, you should go back because this is like a continuation of that conversation. The whole thing is rigged, okay? And I need to clarify. I have gotten all sorts of hell from Iowa State and Big 12 fans all summer because I've been steadfast that I believe this will be a one-bid league in the college football playoff generally. There are going to be years where there's an anomaly and they'll jump up and get two, and I do believe that will happen. But the reason is not of my opinion of the league. The reason I've said that is because of my faith in the institution, my faith in the college football playoff, my faith in how this whole thing is set up. And the whole thing is rigged. Now, in addition to being rigged the way that it is, because what happens in college football playoff era is basically 4 commissioners get in the room and ESPN, because ESPN has to have a vote, which is insane.
So there is a committee.
But the votes don't matter in playoff, in the football, because the SEC and the Big Ten have complete control. This is like they have 60% of the voting power, and they're always going to vote together.
The members of the committee or just
the SEC and the Big Ten?
Yeah, I gotcha. Yeah. I gotcha.
Because they're going to stay lockstep because of the money. They're never going to go away from one another. Well, now...
as far as the setup.
Yes.
Got it. Not the individuals picking the teams.
Yeah, no, I'm talking about the setup of the playoff.
Got it.
Not the committee.
Got it.
Which I don't trust any of those people either because of the money. Like, this is a television product we're doing here. they're not trying to get the best teams. They're not trying to get the most deserving teams. They're trying, in my opinion. Again, this is my opinion. But so I've said for however long the whole thing is rigged, where they're setting this thing up purposely to, one, they're getting a sweetheart deal with the money. Well, the other leagues, what else can they do? Because the reason they got the sweetheart deal is because the Big Ten and the SEC said, we're going to leave if you don't sign this deal. We're going to go do our own thing, and then you're FCS. What are they supposed to do? So they took their automatic bid, and they signed the paperwork, and you move on because you're getting bullied, and there's nothing you can do about it.
And took like $7 million less per school.
Yes.
Just because I had to.
While they were rating your conferences for all of your valuable teams. Okay?
Other than that, yeah, real pro
It's
college football.
It's for the good of the sport. It's for the student athletes. Yeah. The fan experience. That's what we care about here. It's all about the student athletes. They've got to have the best experience possible when they're on these universities. That's what they're about.
Do you know why your ticket prices are going up?
No shit.
These guys.
Yes. Okay, so now we find out, it's reported on Monday, like 12 hours after we do this podcast about how the AP poll is rigged. And they are now saying that the Big Ten and the SEC are going to meet about a potential scheduling alliance. Well, if you listened to us for a year, we've told you this was going to happen. Because what they're doing now, they are going to meet and they are going to say, because here's what's going to happen. I promise you this is going to happen. If the Big 12 is ever going to get 2 teams, it'll be this year. Okay? And maybe they set it up so they can do this. I wouldn't put it past them. And they're going to say, well, that's not fair. Like, look at the schedule we played. There's going to be a 3-loss Ole Miss team. We called that 2 months ago. A 3-loss Ole Miss team is going to be like, well, that's bullshit. Why would Iowa State and Utah get in? Like, they didn't play the schedule that we played. Mm-hmm. So that we got to bring in a strength of schedule component. Okay. At the same time, in a back room in Nashville, Tennessee, these 2 conferences are setting up a scheduling alliance for their super leagues to play one another. So it inflates their strength of schedule because they're not anymore going. And this is why the Cyhawk game is not going to happen in 10 years from now. Okay? Mm-hmm. I promise you, this is going to happen. So then they can say, well, your strength of schedule just isn't there, because they're going to completely block out playing the ACC and the Big 12, and they're trying to minimize what they are. It's very similar to what the power conferences have done in college basketball. By not playing Drake in Northern Iowa, well, what are they supposed to do? If they can't play you, how is their strength of schedule? How are they supposed to get quad 1 wins? They don't exist for them, right? So like, it's very similar. Like nobody has clean hands here. Like this has been happening in basketball for the last 20 years. But this is what's going to happen. And then they're going to say, oh, okay, well, we're going to expand this playoff to 16 or whatever, but we're going to get 4 automatic bids, which the most important part of that is that it's the money. Like it's guaranteed money that are going to these big leagues.
Even when they have a bad year.
Correct.
And the Big Ten's been bad at times the last 10 years.
Think about the 4th place team in the Big Ten
4 years ago. Now,
right?
This year it's different.
Yeah,
I'm not arguing that.
Yeah. But you get my point. Like, I've caught so many freaking stray bullets from people because of my opinion on this. And you even got a guy telling you this week that we're overreacting and we're paranoid. No, we're not. This is the way it's going. And I'm trying to be realistic so Iowa State fans aren't completely irate like Florida State fans were at the end of last year. Did Florida State have a top 4 team at the end of last year with all their injuries? Absolutely not. Did they have a deserving resume? Absolutely. And what are we doing here, right? Like, do we want to put it in the hands of, my whole thing is that I think that these individuals on this committee are like good people? No, I don't think they're trying to screw anybody, but they're influenced by television and they're influenced by commissioners and all this crap. They don't care about the student athletes like they say they do. Maybe on the surface they do. But this whole thing is about money. And unfortunately, Iowa State is in a league where it's not as valuable as the other ones. That's it. It's not. They could have a better team. And ESPN is always going to pick Georgia over Iowa State, a 4-loss Georgia team or whatever. They're always going to. So I rest my case. The whole thing is rigged, and you guys need to get prepared for what's coming in the future, and then you try and make the best of it.
Your guy Gary Pinkel's on the committee. He's a big Gary Pinkel guy.
SEC's Gary Pinkel.
Interestingly, already this week, you start to see from some of the national pundits the first domino to drop in this. Oh, this isn't fair for the SEC. Is the fact that the automatic qualifier in both the Big 12 and the ACC get a bye.
Yeah, oh yeah.
People are already against that.
Yeah.
There's already because
there's already a campaign against
they had a mock bracket that Iowa State was the 4 seed because Iowa State would be the represent the Big 12 and again the top 4 seeds get a bye into that quarterfinal round, and then Alabama was the 5 or Georgia was the 5, and Georgia would Iowa State would get a bye and Georgia would have to play in the first one, and the guys like in the Barstool guy Brandon Walker, who's a I would say an SEC guy, who's like, this isn't fair. This is a cakewalk. I'd rather be a 5 seed than a 1 seed because then all I have to do is beat a 12 and then beat Iowa State. And so you're already seeing the movement from the national media of like, we need to remove that automatic bye. So that will be the first domino to drop. Yeah. And I think that could happen as soon as the next playoff. But again, you expand it. The only way the 12 should accept the expanded playoff if they get automatic 2 bids in.
Which I think that that could happen.
They could get that.
I think that could be a deal.
Here we go. This is Brandon Walker. Again, Brandon's humorous to me. I'm not anti-Brandon Walker.
Yeah, this isn't like reading like Pete Thamel here. Like,
no, he's
to clarify for people who don't know who he is.
But I would say he represents the general SEC fan and their opinion of the Big 12. And so here's Brandon Walker's tweet. He said, one of these teams will make the playoff and get a bye as a top 4 seed. That's pretty stupid. And he essentially just listed the top 10 teams in the Big 12. And, I mean, you're already at a losing battle. I mean,
yeah.
BYU and Iowa State are undefeated. What more do you want them to do? Iowa State went on the road and beat a ranked Big 10 team.
It doesn't matter what Iowa State does. They could go undefeated, and the perception is already out there, is my point. And I'm sorry. Maybe I'm getting, I turned 40 and I'm more jaded now. Maybe. But, man, it was a long time ago. Andrew Logue from the Des Moines Register, we were sitting in Dallas. All this realignment stuff was happening for the first time. A&M was threatening to leave because of the Longhorn Network and the recruiting thing. They were going to put high school games on there. Remember that? And Logue turns to me and he says, you know what?
Just by the way, the NIL transfer portal crazy tampering nonsense, and we left a conference over the channel they were on for recruiting.
The other thing, what's insane to me is last week the NCAA was outraged about this UNLV quarterback.
Oh, I saw that.
And meanwhile, you've got these, because the NCAA, Brent, they are here for the student-athlete benefit, right?
So that was all posturing. For Congress,
absolutely,
it's all for Congress.
It was all a show. Meanwhile, you've got the Big Ten and the SEC shanking everybody in the back. They don't care about that, do they? Okay, I was making a point. Where was I going with this? I don't even freaking know. I've been wanting to talk about this for like 2 days. And
what do you think?
Did I misrepresent anything? You can tell me if I did, because I'm very hot about this right now.
No, I mean,
more so because I knew it was coming, and I wish that people would open their eyes, because the problem is this happened in Europe, right, with professional soccer, where they were going to do their Super League. And the European soccer fans said absolutely not, because we respect the sanctity of this sport. We respect our sport's history, and we know that we need all of these. We need the relegation. We need all of it for it to be special. The problem is college football fans are too stupid, because these people in suits have brainwashed us that television revenue means more than what it means for our communities, and these players getting real scholarships that do have meaning in the real world. They've completely brainwashed us all, and we're all too dumb to figure it out.
So I was in a nice conversation with some Oklahoma fans on Twitter on Monday.
Oh, I'm sure that was great.
Should have avoided it, but I was in it. I'm like,
Did you tell them they're the next Arkansas?
Well, so this guy had a big following, and so I had tweeted about, hey, as the Big 12 and the SEC are the guy in the hot dog suit saying, hey, how did this happen? We're all trying to find the guy that did this. Everyone's seen the meme. Essentially, the guy in the hot dog car crashed. Anyway, it's from a show. And this Oklahoma guy who has a big following says, y'all were supposed to stop watching college football because of realignment. Realignment boycotts about as real as NFL kneeling boycotts. Meaning, because I had suggested 10 years down the road, if you preclude these other conferences, which is literally half the country, then they're not going to care as much and
correct,
stand by that.
Yeah. But that hasn't happened yet.
Thank you, Aiden's an A-plus producer.
Oh,
if
Red
you're
Dirt.
watching
I've gone to war with that guy before.
And so I politely said, well, when I'm not advocating a boycott, just wish the playoff was more open-ended and by credibility. And you don't need a guarantee. If you're so good, you don't need a guarantee. And then I kindly suggested they will use that extra money to pay out Venables when they go 7-5 this year. And I'm going to bookmark that because that'll happen. And then I'm going to remind him.
You said the hot dog thing. Andrew Logue. He turned to me when he goes, you know how Andrew is one of the nicest guys. Chris, college sports are kind of like a hot dog, right? Tastes really good, but until you see how it's made.
But
I guess that's really profound.
This is what's hilarious to me. Then I had another a guy that I don't know why this Oklahoma fan follows me, but it's like ruin this, and he wrote back, it ruins the sport for you. Some of us enjoy watching Michigan, USC, and OU, Tennessee. And he said, to each their own. And then I wrote back, okay, then if the SEC is so concerned about these great matchups, how about you play 9 conference games?
Yeah.
Or wait, no, you're gaming the system so you can get in the playoff.
Absolutely.
And then avoid play. Anyway, and you're right. This will
Good
never
for you. I didn't see any of this. I would have been retweeting the shit out of that.
This will not get to the Premier League European soccer
because
thing
these people are too dumb. Because people like that.
Yeah, they think like they need to be. It's an American thing.
Yeah,
honestly, this is societally like we want to be a part of the elite club, and the country club is the Big Ten.
I never joined a country club,
so I don't know.
I don't want to be a part of your team.
Here's why I'm optimistic, Cito. Maybe this committee will surprise us.
I'm so pissed.
And have multiple Big 12 teams in. But on the Iowa State end, like I said on Sunday, it's pretty simple at the end of the day. You're still going to make the playoff if you win the Big 12. Like you don't
know what's
worry
weird?
about it.
At the same time, I'm still glad Iowa State is where it is.
I agree.
Honestly, it's a better spot for Iowa State.
Would you rather be Iowa State or Arkansas?
I would rather be Iowa State because we are not part of the country club. We would fail if we were in the country club, right? Because we may be able to be in it, but we're not. So maybe we're going to have to cut back on groceries, right? Family's not going on a vacation this year. Oh, man. Honey, talking to my daughter, not my wife, those jeans are a little tight, but maybe you can wear them a couple more months because we're out of money, right? Like Iowa State is not a country. We're not a Villa University, and you have to be able to accept that. But you can be an exceptional public course player, right? Like I can drink beer with the best of them. We're okay wearing overalls.
You're right, and we're fine for the short term. The issue is going to be if those two keep taking the money,
correct,
and keep taking it away, and they're going to because clearly that's the goal.
That's the plan.
Then
they're going to lie about it in broad daylight too, and they'll blame. They'll be like, well,
you guys aren't good enough.
Yeah.
Nobody watches your games. No, this was going to happen. They're saying, well, nobody watches the Big 12 anyway, so they just want to see the games. If they're already setting it up, it's the same reason why Brandon Walker tweets that. He's like, nobody wants to watch Iowa State play Georgia. Well, then just have a 20-team invitational with your 20 predetermined good teams. Like, how do you then, like, that tweet was just passive-aggressive, but it's the point of these Big 12 schools can't even though Iowa State beat a Big 10 team on the road, a ranked Big 10 team, and Iowa State,
who we are told by experts is top 5 in that league.
Iowa.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if they are, but really smart people say that.
Iowa State's undefeated, and yet you still have people saying, "Oh, they don't deserve a bye if they win the conference." Well, why? Iowa State could be undefeated. You're saying they wouldn't deserve a bye? Those people believe that. No, the Big 12's not good enough.
It's perception.
They are
not
setting
reality.
this up that way. And then the issue is long term. You keep getting undercut of, oh, you're a second tier league, whatever. Then all of a sudden, the first domino to fall is they have more money on the NIL front. They'll get your players. On the second front, if I'm a coach and I can't win at the highest level, meaning I can't get, if I think I can win at a high level and not make the playoff, I don't want to be there. I want to go to a place where I at least can make a playoff. And so then you lose your coaches. And then what happens? Like it's in the short term. This year, I'm not as concerned about this year because Iowa State controls its destiny. It's the years ahead and keeping viableness as an athletic department as they're taking your revenue one thing at a time. Then they will take your players, and then they will take your coaches.
The coaches, to me, everybody focuses on the players, which rightfully so. What did Eric Heff say to me after it's like halftime of the Arkansas State game? Or he's like, yeah, this whole thing's a lot easier when you have really good players.
That's true.
Yeah, you're right. So the players matter greatly. Yes. All this stuff matters, but without great coaches, these players, like, we can talk, and you're right. Your team has done an incredible job. I'm so proud of you and your whole team and what We Will has meant for our community. All this stuff matters. Without great coaches and great cultures, we don't have the rosters at Iowa State that you have right now.
Zero chance. The
fear I have is that if they ever get to the point where they just feel like there's no chance,
the system's
right? Like,
against us.
We're not even close to being there. That's where like I get to worry. And then sure, like, you're going to go and get somebody else and they're going to fight that fight. But, I want to be clear. I don't think we're even 5 years from that point, because I think that Iowa State has enough support and the right people in place. And I truly think Matt and TJ are going to be here a long time. I think that, Finley and Dresser, my opinion, Dresser's setting this thing up to be an absolute rock star power in the wrestling world. I think he's as good in this scenario as anyone in the country. But, there comes a point, it's like, you got to be able to pay your bills and you've got to be able to do all this stuff. But to me, like, if you can keep the coaches, the player thing is, you're going to lose some people.
Yeah.
That inevitably will happen. TJ Otzelberger's elite. You lost Tyrese Hunter, because he wanted more money, and that's fine. And when we saw it worked out, but like, I would guess you would know more than me that Milan Momcilovic and Taman Lipsy could have gone off and made a hell of a lot more than Tyrese Hunter made, and they decided to stay. So like, this is not doomsday, but I want fans to be realistic about what is happening, so you're not all pissed off in November if Iowa State gets screwed, or the Big 12, because the deck is stacked. Like, this is not, you're not in the country club. Don't act like you are. The country club is, and neither is the ACC. The country club is the Big 12. We are the public course, and there's some really nice public courses around here, right? We've played a lot of them. I like public courses. Sorry. I'm talking in circles.
No, I get it. I think everyone understands it.
Super pissed.
There are things, and this is why Iowa State's been adamant about selling this game out, by the way.
Yeah.
Because Iowa State's getting cut off with the playoff revenue. They need to sell as many tickets as they can to stay whole.
I get it.
And that's where it all is part of the equation.
The Big 12 thing.
And the
people
Big 12
don't realize that they're taking a bath because they invited the four corner schools.
Exactly. And
but you had to do it to stay viable as a league.
It's all connected.
But in the Big Ten and the SEC, this is the rich part. I had this idiot Big Ten fan. Oh, the Big 12 hands aren't clean. You guys killed the Pac-12. Hey, earmuffs, if your kids are listening. Earmuffs. Fuck you. You are an idiot. Like, these people are, this is the problem, man. Like, if you're an Everton fan in England, you care about that little ass town in the
Sheffield by the door or whatever they call it.
They don't care. These communities and these schools could rot in hell, and they don't care as long as they can wear their laundry and, we make more television revenue than you. It is maddening.
Yeah, I don't know what the solution is. I mean, I think the interesting part here is I'm a solution guy. So if you're the Big 12,
and I just bitch.
No, I know, but what do you do then? Like, you have to be in the playoff.
Yeah,
like,
you have to do it.
You just take it.
No, the best case scenario is that they go to a 4-4-2-2.
You get to 14 or 16, and then you get 2 or 3
That's the
bids.
best case scenario.
You got to take it if you get
and I
that.
actually think it's the most likely.
Or I mean, I've seen this suggested a little bit on the interwebs. You just say, okay, we're gonna create our own system, but then you're relegated pretty quickly.
I've made a lot of predictions today. Here's my last one. I don't think the SEC and the Big Ten have the balls to break off like they talk about.
No, they're going to try and bleed you to death.
That's an empty threat.
Yeah. They're not going to, but they are basically, they're doing the slow burn. And then they can go, the ratings fell off because.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, they're going to do what we all did to the low majors in college basketball.
It's that's a great comparison.
That's what they're going to do. And then they're going to be like, well, yeah, it's the Big 12 and the ACC, but it's not what it was
20 years ago, the Missouri Valley got 3 or 4 bids in the NCAA tournament.
That's exactly what they're going to do. And then you get and what they used, so in the NCAA tournament, when you go, you get I think they're called shares, so people can understand this. And for every game you win as a league, you get shares and you get extra money. I was with Brian Harden. I was having dinner with him last year at the NCAA tournament, and he was enlightening me on a lot of this stuff. And it was just Brian. He's Drake's athletic director, and he was teaching me about this. And when the Valley gets 2 teams and they can one of them wins a game, it's like this financial boon for everyone. Well, they used to get that, and now they get this because they've been cut off at the knees. Well, Drake needs more quad 1 wins. Well, how the hell are they supposed to do that? Nobody will play him because the big schools have all colluded against him. And I wish, I would love to see Iowa State fans and Big 12 fans be like, you know what, that's not right, because it's happening to us in football, and it's going to happen to you in football. But the problem, again, is we are too focused on our laundry, and what are we passionate about? We are passionate about the Cardinal and the gold, right? And this is what differentiates us from a lot of Iowa fans, and I'm not taking this. I've talked about this a lot. A lot of them, it's just a convenience, and it's like a team thing. Iowa State fans, for the most part, are passionate because they've had an experience, right?
A connection of some sort.
Right? I grew up an Iowa fan. I am an Iowa State fanatic, and it is in my blood, right? Because I went there, and I married my wife. My wife and I got our wedding pictures taken there. Our house has 3 degrees from there. There's all these things, and maybe, I hope in the future there's going to be more casual Iowa State fans. That'd be a great problem to have.
It has increased.
Yeah.
Yep.
But the problem is that most of these people just see it as oh, that's my favorite team. And they don't, in my opinion, I'm watching what's going on the West Coast right now. Well, what the hell is going to happen at Conference USA? Does nobody care? Does nobody care about how stupid it is that the Mountain West and the Pac-12 have basically just annihilated each other now? Now they both suck. They're both terrible now. Just merge. Yeah. You idiots.
Yeah.
Why are you fighting each other? And the ACC and the Big 12 are going to do the same thing. You just watch.
Yep.
Sorry.
No,
I've been yelling for an hour. I apologize.
No, and again, the great thing in the short term, it doesn't matter. It's just win the games. And Iowa State's got a big one. And that's where I keep saying, enjoy this year. I don't know what college sports is going to look like 10 years from now. And sometimes we focus a lot on that. The great thing is Iowa State has never been in a better position in the short term.
Do you think that Clover will give us offices next to each other at Mechdyne?
What would you do at Mechdyne? I mean,
I couldn't.
They're a high-level technology
I don't think
company.
they'd hire me. There's way too much baggage. You would get through.
Anybody need a bag, man?
You would get through. I would be blogging at Gravitate Co-working is what I'm going to be doing. Just trying to write books. Hopefully 100 people buy it. Collecting unemployment. That's the thing. This is all I know how to do. I don't know how to do anything else. I would be screwed. And this is why I'll be miserable at 75, because I'm going to be pecking away at my keyboard. Just yelling.
You'd be living up in Okoboji with Randy.
Yeah. I hope, man. I'd sign up for that right now. Randy Peterson.
Love you, buddy.
Freaking GOAT. Gravitate Co-working, I just mentioned him there. It is in my future book writing career when I actually have time to work on mine. That'd be a good place for me to go and just sit there and work on that book for 2 hours every day. GravitateCoworking.com. Blum goes there a lot.
Yeah.
Also, we do have some movement on the helmet car. Kelderman is very confident that we can make this happen. Kelderman Manufacturing down there in Oskaloosa. There is a separate text thread with me and Kelderman and Mark Steck where there's been real movement on that this week. So you better get your brother-in-law at the College of Design, those daggum kids up there working on this, because this is important.
He's already drawn up some plans.
All right.
Guys, I'm not confident about a lot of things.
We are getting a helmet car.
I am more confident in the helmet car than I am about the future of the college football playoff. I'll just put it that way.
Again, I think it'll be a 4-4-2-2.
And that's okay.
That would be okay. I think that's where this is going to go. But you can't look past what those guys in suits are doing in the back room when you're not in there.
And why do they? Why do they need to go to Nashville and?
Yeah, well, because they're making a spectacle out of it. Like they're gonna be at some 5-star hotel.
I mean,
Whatever happened to a Zoom call?
yeah, exactly. That's what was my first. I was like, why?
Because these people can't just do the easy thing.
What? Why do you need to meet in person about it?
The funny thing too, it's like,
and it's always in Nashville or Miami.
Do
or
you remember when we were in college and they're all like,
Toledo.
"Oh, well, we got to preserve the bowl system. We can't go to a playoff. It's going to ruin college football. None of the regular season games will matter. We can't go to a playoff." You idiots! We've been telling you for 25 years that you would make more money doing this, and now, okay, so we're expanding the. We haven't even done this playoff yet, and we're already bitching about it.
That's the thing.
The playoff that you created.
That's what the SEC people are already like. Oh, this isn't good enough. Like, it hasn't even happened yet. We're already complaining about the bye week for the Big 12 when they haven't even gotten the bye week yet. And you guys created it to begin with.
The last point I would make is I actually kind of sympathize with them in the fact. Well, first of all, there's blood all over their hands and shirts, and like they did this. Okay, don't you dare let anyone tell you that the Big 12 is responsible. Like that is the most insane. There's no league that's been hammered by realignment worse than the Big 12. Okay. Do not let them tell you that, like that the Big 12 is it. But the biggest thing is if you're ever in a meeting in any form of life and like your bosses ask you to leave the room or they go to another room and talk, that's a bad sign. Nothing good comes from that. I promise you.
What's the old Hamilton line? You went to Hamilton, didn't you?
Yeah, I like Hamilton. Huge fan.
You want to be in the room where it happens? I mean, it's part of the deal, right?
I do. They don't have the balls to succeed like they're talking about. They don't.
They won't
because they'll get sued. Yeah. And
but
all this.
They will bleed you out. What they're trying to do.
Iowa Clinic men's. If you are bleeding out, you should go to the Iowa Clinic.
Get that checked out at the clinic. And there's probably no wait time.
I had a great experience. True story here. When I've been going to Game Day Men's Health since about April. I had a really poor physical in March. Really poor. Blood pressure was sky high. It's probably because I work with Aiden. I'm kidding.
It was pre-flood too.
Pre-flood. The worst physical I've ever had, glucose, pre-diabetic, all this stuff. And I got my physical last week with Dr. Nicholson, and my numbers are perfect now. Everything completely dropped. That's what losing some weight can do for you. But the moral of the story is be a man and go to the doctor. Get those physicals. Take care. It scared me last March, honestly. Well, my numbers and stuff, it scared the hell out of me. It was like, holy shit, I'm going to die.
We're getting old.
Yeah. So go and find yourself a great PT there at the Iowa Clinic and do like I do. I don't know if Dr. Nicholson's taking new, but he's the best. He's the absolute best doctor I've ever had in my life. I love the guy. I would do anything for him. All right, Iowa State's taking on Baylor. What are we, 43 minutes in, and we haven't even talked about the game.
So I listened to Dave Aranda's press conference this morning.
Yeah.
I like Dave Aranda. I'm not afraid to say
I like him too. I don't like the We Pay Players shirts, but I'm sure that was some ops person.
Yeah. But
right. This is a good idea.
His press conferences are just fascinating.
He's a really good dude.
He's just super low key. In fact, the first comment on their YouTube page is, "Our coach is too nice." I mean, But
here's an idea: whenever Coach Haycock retires, which I hope is in 40 years, because I love John Haycock. After Aranda gets fired, we should bring him on as the DC.
Well, I think he's going to have other opportunities.
I'm just saying. But we're Dave Aranda guys.
That's a fine. I'm a Dave Aranda guy.
This is a pro Dave Aranda podcast.
He interestingly, he said something that I was like, I like that. Because he was very complimentary about Iowa State. And he basically said Iowa State on both offense and defense chokes you out. He's like, you play Iowa State. And it didn't dawn on me until he said it. He said Houston had 47 plays on Saturday. Look at the number of plays other teams have had against Iowa State. And Iowa State, back to our choke them out, bleed them out references here. That's what they do.
Shake them.
That's like even on offense against Houston, and this is what we talked about a little this, but I think what Iowa State really did is limit the possessions.
Yeah.
And then
good.
you're just kind of, and then on defense, like Aranda said it, you have to string together 10, 12, 14 plays against Iowa State. And it's really hard to do.
And what's terrifying about this Iowa State team, if I'm Miranda, is that they do that, but they also have the explosive capability.
And that's where it hasn't really popped a lot yet, but it's there.
Could this be the week?
It might be.
I think this might be.
It might be. So a couple other things from Miranda's press conference. It will be Robertson, the quarterback.
Okay.
Daquan Finn is still not healthy.
I think that Robertson's better.
He's been better, and I don't know because Finn's hurt or what's going on.
Yeah, I think Finn's probably best to transfer back down and just be a really good group of 5 quarterback, like an elite one. But probably not a fair judgment, but I would, as an Iowa State fan, I would rather see Finn play than Robertson.
Yeah, well, I don't think he's healthy for this week, so it's not going to matter. The other thing he said was they're getting healthier. They've got like 5 defensive guys that'll be back this week that didn't play last week.
Great.
And
That's great news.
And then they had a team meeting on Monday.
Oh, the players only?
The players only meet.
Oh,
well,
God,
no,
here
it
we
wasn't
go.
players only. It was a team meeting where the players.
That's another cheat code. When they start talking about players only team meetings, that's bad.
I was like, okay, that always piques my interest.
I have reported on too many players only meetings.
But he thinks they're.
They never happen when things are going well.
No, so that was my first. We think alike. But he had some very nice things to say about Iowa State, specifically.
He's a good guy, good coach.
He said about Iowa State's offense, and he has really good analogies. Not quite Jeff Woody analogies, but who does?
Woody's an A+.
He said Iowa State's basically like a salad, and then all the movements are the ingredients and the fixins.
Oh,
meaning
like a Cobb salad?
Well, I'm not sure exactly.
Little
but
chicken in there, Caesar.
They have
big salad.
Yeah, the big salad. Seinfeld reference.
It's like that's lost on me.
It's a big salad.
They move the tight ends around. They have different running backs. Like they have personnel groups, but he's like the packages are really the same type of thing. They just dress them up differently. Was his point? And I was like, that's pretty good. So a lot of respect for Iowa State there.
Time out. You said the tight ends. Our friends at Wide Right and Natty Light. I love reading their whoever does the game recap through Twitter.
Yes, elite article.
It's fantastic. And our friend Adam Gray used to work with us here. At one point, he must have been it must have been the same time as me. He tweeted out Iowa State would line up 11 tight ends
That's true.
if it was possible.
Mouse is in.
Oh my God.
But so he was very complimentary also as special teams. He said, that's my number one concern this week is Iowa State is elite on special teams.
Wow. Boy, the times have changed. Woo.
So I think they, in my opinion, and I got some heat on the internet for saying that this team is more skilled than any team Iowa State has played yet. But
you're definitely right.
Now they did not put up a bunch of points against Utah.
Yeah.
But I think their wide receivers are light years better than Houston.
They are 2 possessions away, one being a fluke Hail Mary, from being 2-0 in the league. And you can't look past that. And as good as we think Iowa State is, Iowa State's not Georgia. Right? My point is not disrespectful. I think this may be Campbell's best team, okay? So, I clearly think highly. You can't look past anyone on this schedule because there's just not that big of a difference between team number 1 and team number 10.
I'm with you.
Houston, yes. I think they're pretty bad.
On offense.
Yes. Good defense, actually.
Good defense.
They're not.
D-line has got a couple NFL guys on there.
Yeah. But this game, in my opinion, will go one of 2 ways. This isn't great analysis, but they're either going to come out on fire and maybe getting away from Baylor is because their fans aren't supporting them anymore.
They're not.
Right. And
the line of question was like, hey, how do you guys turn this? Like, it was very, very negative.
And they did play pretty well at Colorado in a loss. And maybe Colorado's better than we all thought. So factor that in.
And in the second half, Miranda said it, they only gave up 47 yards.
They were
in the
really
second
good.
half. Yeah, Baylor played better in the second half.
So, or
it could get ugly.
Or they're doing players-only team meetings, and this thing's about ready to, we're going to have an old WWE casket match, right? That could be it, too. I don't know. I wouldn't bet on this game with your paycheck. If anything, like maybe you shoot for it to be lower scoring, but I also think that this could be a game where Iowa State pops off and has 21 points in the first quarter. Like I do think the offense will do that at some point.
Yes. Aiden, what's the over-under? Can you look that up for me? I want to say this because we have not given this person enough due, in my opinion, as a fan base, and we've given him a lot. Matt Campbell became the all-time winningest coach at Iowa State history. John Haycock is 1A there.
Can we throw Eli Rashid
and let's be Eli Rashid
into the conversation?
Thank you. Over-under for what am I?
136.
What is?
Well, that can't be right. Hold on.
You're looking at like a basketball
game from
Jesus,
last year.
Aiden.
Aiden, we gave you all these.
You have one job.
Great compliments.
Eli Rashid needs to be, because he's been one of the.
Great point.
Yeah.
So Iowa State this year has allowed 3 touchdowns in 4 games. 3 touchdowns in 4 games.
It's really good.
That is incredible. And what Haycock has done now, top 5 in the nation right now in Iowa State in scoring defense and total defense, top 3 in passing defense. That said, this will be the first game, I think, where that secondary is actually going to get a decent test. And I know Porter and Williams and Miles have been really good. Those safeties are elite. I look for Baylor because Baylor's really struggled to run it. I think Baylor might try and just see what they can do on the outside with playmakers, and nobody has done that yet. And so I'll be curious how Iowa State adjusts. And nobody's hit a big play on Iowa State yet in the past game. There's been no big plays in the past game against Iowa State.
I've been saying
we'll see.
The test here will be the linebackers.
Yeah.
I've been saying for weeks that I thought this game would be the first. I don't care if Baylor won or not. I agree with your assessment. It's not a shot at anyone else. They have better skill players than
anybody
they've played.
Yes. And so, the Iowa State defense has been awesome. They've been top 5 in the country good. I still don't think even the local media is giving enough attention to how good this defense has been without its starting linebacker.
Yeah.
Like what Haycock has done without Caleb Bacon, with a young group of linebackers, with some uncertainty there, to be this good, and it's almost like, oh, yeah, that's expected. It's like, that is really incredible.
Yeah.
Like, I'm here.
Think about our conversation after the first game.
What's going to go
North
on?
Dakota just ran up and down the field on you.
Over under a 46. That's okay.
Under.
I don't know what Iowa State wants to do here. I mean, if Iowa State, again, chokes them out, this could be a choke them out type of game.
There's so many violent references.
I know. And Dave Aranda said it. I
told a fan to F off.
I'm sorry. Well, that's Dave Aranda. I'm using Dave Aranda's word. And Iowa State does it in a polite way.
I would love to interview Greg Sankey. There's a few things in my life
Okay, back to that real quick. And John Haycock, by the way, thank you.
I love John.
He's been
Not
here the
only
whole
that,
time. And Eli Rashid. Those guys all could have left for better opportunity.
I don't know Coach Rashid
money.
as well. I do really like him and the experiences I've had with him. John Haycock is top 3 humans I've met in 20 years at Iowa State.
Not disagreeing with that.
I don't even know how he finds out about things, but anytime like something's going on, he'll text. He genuinely like cares about people. Yeah. I really, really love that man. And he's a guy who I will, no matter where he goes, I will keep in touch with. I just really, really, really respect him.
And that's where I wanted to go. Is everyone talks about Campbell turning down other opportunities?
Oh yeah.
Do you know who else has turned down some monster dollars? John Haycock and Eli Rashid.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And so that we talk about Campbell and the players staying loyal, forever true. Well, those assistant coaches are
Absolutely.
right there as well. And so I just wanted to make that known. I mean, Haycock got offered a bunch of money from Notre Dame a couple of years ago to take that DC job. And he said, no, I'm finishing my career at Iowa State. And so that says something. And there's a reason why Iowa State's in this position as a defense. And I think it starts and ends with John Haycock, and just wanted to get that out there.
Good stuff.
But yeah, I think this is a game where if Iowa State hits a couple big plays early, they could run away from it. I think it's a Baylor team that's based on the players only meeting. It's like the old Happy Gilmore. No, the Water Boy.
Oh yeah,
nothing to lose
Bobby
now.
Boucher.
Pull out all the stops.
It's a dangerous team.
It's a dangerous team from that regard.
Yeah, it's a real dangerous team. And if BYU, listen, what's the hype right now? The hype teams in the Big 12 are Colorado and BYU. And if they're as good as people think, I don't necessarily know if either are. But if they are, Baylor's right there with them because they almost beat both of them.
Well said.
I want to thank our friends, or our friend Hopewood, hopewoodjd.com. You can get your will done in the day. We are getting to heart attack season with the cardiac clones.
Hopefully not on Saturday.
Heart attack season officially begins in the middle of October, and then it's basketball, and we've got all the sports going on at the same time, and that thing starts fluttering. You better have your will done just in case. HopewoodJD.com. She'll make a donation to the We Will Collective if you reference hearing it here on the podcast.
That's a fact. Portal opens December 7th.
Go out and buy yourself a bottle of Cody Road for your tailgate this weekend. The commemorative Cyclone Fanatic bottle is right here in front of me. Also, we've got the Iowish cream, which is delicious in coffee, and a lot of people be dipping into that in the tailgate lots.
What do we got for a forecast? Let's get the
It's
updated
lovely.
weather forecast.
Lovely.
Can we get Amber Alexander on the line?
I reckon it was going to be like 80 and sunny.
Is it too hot? Ooh, it's up to 90. C-Dub, that's too hot.
Well, 6:30 kick.
I know, but that's all hot, and it's windy. Oh, it's like legit, not just McCarney windy.
Like Leach, McCarney, windy?
Like south, out of the south windy.
That's good. That's advantage good, guys.
I don't know, maybe.
Conrarty, man. We have Conrarty.
So at kick.
Hey, what's that kid missing that short kick for? Don't you have a contract with him?
We'll allow a mulligan.
Okay.
At kick, 83. I don't know. That's kind of hot, C-Dub. Where it happen to my fall tailgate?
Well,
I'm not complaining, but I am.
I just think you need to stop complaining. Like, what do you want? Rainy and
No,
60?
I want 62 degrees.
I just don't know why you have to find something to complain about and everything.
Well, listen, if you were in the stands for Arkansas State, you would be with me.
It's a night game. The sun's going to be down at like 7.
Good point. Just stay stay hydrated, everybody.
Go out and buy yourself some Ames Lager.
We need a water.
Yeah.
It would have been clutch.
Well, couldn't we get our friends at Westo to make one of those like alcoholic water things?
An alcoholic.
I think that's just liquor.
Yeah, is there? I don't
vodka?
think. I think that's. I don't think that really helps.
Well, Cody Road can do it then.
Just need
Buy
some-
your Ames Lager, stock up. It's your best way.
Yeah, and
Well,
it's,
we got Brooke in the corner
Brooks
here.
in the corner, but Brooke agrees. Stay like.
Can we get a can of Ames Lager and tape it over the Budweiser thing on Brooke
I
Burke?
bet somebody could figure that out. Aiden's good at Photoshop. Okay, no. Here's what we're doing, team. Ames Lager, water, Cody Road, water, Ames Lager.
Okay.
All right. It's a long day. It's a long pace yourself.
Arm twisted. Well, that will be me on Friday night. I won't drink. I won't have a beer until about 1:00 in the morning.
I mean, you could probably have one have one, cover the game. Like you got a long,
I don't like doing that.
That's old school. Like they used to have beer in the press box.
Yeah, no, I don't function well. Like 2 beers does nothing for me. I'd rather just drink coffee and Red Bull all day. Like 6:30 when that thing kicks off, I'm gonna have like 4 Red Bulls in me, 3 coffees. Like I'm gonna be so wired up.
Go to the Iowa Clinic, everybody.
Hey, my numbers are great.
Is it too late? Are people gonna be falling asleep on those media timeouts?
Not if you drink Red Bull all day.
And then you got the drone show to keep you.
Yeah,
you alive.
If you just drink Red Bull all day on game day like I do, you never have to worry about it.
There we go.
All right, let's look at our Wiffles Hybrids Big 12 schedule. Diffie just came into the place, so if the camera starts to shake or if you hear a dog panting,
you can see Diffie in there. There's Diffie. Hey, Diffie.
Thanks, Dr. Ashley. We do have a Friday night game, an RV Village special.
Okay.
TCU is a 16.5-point favorite over the Houston Cougars.
Man,
I like TCU to roll here.
I don't know. Houston.
I don't know. Their defense is just too good.
Houston's okay. Like defensive.
We're gonna play it. We're gonna play Houston at plus 16.
Where's that game in Fort Worth?
It's in Fort Worth, but they don't really have a home field.
I think
Their home field
the
sucks.
TCU defense is average enough that Houston gets to 14.
No
there.
way.
Houston get 14 points.
They haven't scored in 3 weeks.
I think that's 30-14.
Okay. West Virginia at Oklahoma State. This is upset special written all over it. It's a 3.5-point line.
We've written off Gundy before. I'm not doing it quite yet.
Okay. That is a 3:00 kick. First game in the big. They're all night games on Saturday. It freaking sucks.
Since we last talked, West Virginia game next week, night game as well.
Yeah, 7:00. So we're in a string of night games here. So Big Fox for Iowa State 2 weeks in a row on primetime.
That's right. That Baylor game is a Big Fox game.
Yep.
Who's doing it? It's Brando.
Brando, I think. All right. I can't stand Brando. He's a good guy, but I just don't like his style.
He's gonna have that Abu Sama line.
Abu!
Yeah. How do you do?
You've got Central Florida at Florida on the SEC network. I mean, a couple of desperate teams there, really. I mean,
Tickets is low. $80 for a ticket in Gainesville. Actually pretty impressive.
Do you think Central Florida wins that?
No.
But that's
I don't know. I wouldn't.
I hope they do.
I hope they do. That would be helpful for the narrative.
You've got Kansas at Arizona State, 7:00 kick. Man, are we going to bury Kansas right now?
Diffie's trying to get out of the.
He won't get out. Okay. Diffie, down.
No. That's keep an eye on it though.
Okay.
I would be if I'm Arizona State. I'm nervous in that game.
Arizona State coming off a bye.
I know. In fact,
circle the wagons.
I really like Kansas for this one spot.
Okay.
I do.
Texas Tech at Arizona. That is a 10:00 kick.
Holy smokes. We got Big 12 after dark.
After dark. I love Arizona here. Everybody's high on Tech.
What's
Just got their
What's
win.
that line there?
6.5.
6.5. Yeah.
I love Arizona here.
I think so too.
Because Tech's defense is butter soft.
I don't know how they're going to stop.
That's a good matchup
McMillan
for Arizona.
Fertitta,
right?
100%.
We don't like Arizona when they're playing the Kansas States. I thought Utah until last week. Stick with my point.
I like Arizona there. Yeah.
Boy, Utah's just a tough nut to crack without Cam Rising. You just don't know. Boy, and he is getting heat.
You see that?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. See, these fans now, they're paying the
I
NIL
get
money.
it. I understand
and
it.
now they're attacking the players, where that wasn't a thing 10 years ago. Well, now they're like, I'm paying your salary. You better show up and play.
And there's no union to represent the players in these things, too.
Yeah,
So
it sucks. The whole thing's
fair
hard.
to the players in some capacity as well.
Did I say anything in that conversation that'll get me in trouble?
No.
Okay.
No, you're fine. You might be unpopular with some people in the SEC. And the
I
Big
don't
Ten.
care about that.
Yeah.
I'm trying to not be 100% emotional here, but what is frustrating is that when idiots like us see this coming years in advance, and then other people are shocked by it, and they're outraged.
Well, the hope is, and I'm not hugely optimistic about this, that if there's enough of an outcry beforehand, and that is what I'm optimist at. I'm hopeful the SEC floated that and the Big Ten floated that 4-game thing to take the temperature of the national fan base to see, will they all rally against us if we do this?
Where is these Congress guys and gals? They're so obsessed with NIL. Where are they at here?
Well, there was one guy who's running for Congress, and
what is Chuck Grassley doing right now?
I don't think Chuck's real concerned about.
My point is, I hear about Cory Booker running his yap all the time, and Ted Cruz, and they're all involved in all this.
Yeah, but they're not doing anything.
I know. Where are they at with the outrage here that it's going to kill off half of the?
There
schools?
was one guy running for Congress that tweeted that, hey, when I get elected, I'm going to try and fix this. It's well, buddy, you got to win. You're right. But the problem is again, I keep coming back to it. If Oregon State and Washington State basically got wiped out and nobody did anything, if you're the Big 12, can you the two paths I think for the Big 12 and the ACC are you take it, and then if it gets so bad, maybe you sue on the back end. Or do you try and be proactive and say, hey, we're not going to schedule you in basketball?
Yeah.
But then you're still...
But basketball doesn't really hold a weight to football.
I know, and that's the problem. That is exactly the
all
problem.
These Iowa State fans keep saying that, and I get your point. But, to us it is. To Iowa State fans and Kansas fans and a lot of Big 12... Yeah, but, to these people, you're not... the financials don't add up.
The hope is that there's enough inventory from TV that they still need these other contracts for these other schools. And this again, just big picture here. Why is everybody doing this? It comes down to a simple fact. Fox and ESPN are trying to stay alive as compared to the Amazons and the online streamers and those entities.
Yeah.
So this is the big game here. If they have the rights to all of the Big Ten, the SEC, and those are the best schools, then they're basically daring the Amazons and the Googles and the YouTubes of buying the Big 12 and the ACC. But if they're not worth anything because the teams aren't on that same tier, then nobody will watch. Like, this is a long game, all enacted by the television properties, in my opinion. Now, the hope is ESPN and Fox still find some value in the Big 12 and the ACC, and so far they do because they have more inventory. Mm-hmm. The concern is if they get to a point where, like, well, we don't see that value anymore, and then they don't pay for it, and you're left kind of on the scrap heap.
Well, one of the things, too, it's a good move by your Mark. To get these West Coast schools.
Yes.
Right? Like,
absolutely.
So it's like, yeah, you look at they're playing every Saturday, late night. It's the only games.
And I know it's not the same, but being the best basketball conference isn't a bad thing.
No.
Because there still is, as that ship starts sailing and basketball continues to, at least stay with viewership. It's nowhere near football, but, at least you got something there.
And I do believe that there'll be a kind of like how the Big Ten has set up its football with 4 different partners or whatever it is. I think Big 12 basketball eventually will be like that, which we already saw. They expanded the CBS thing. There's more money there.
That's where but you need to stay afloat until 2031.
I think they will.
Okay.
Like, I really do. I don't trust these people in charge. Like, I think that they are disingenuous. I think they lie and they try and shape public opinion. They're politicians.
No, it's really. And then the constituents are totally bought in because that's their conference.
It's because of laundry.
There's a lot of similarities between politics and college football, honestly.
Yeah. Well, that was a spirited show.
Not a lot of critical thinking, essentially.
God. All right. Glad they're not taking my blood right now. The blood pressure would be through the roof. Thanks to Aiden for producing. Mechdyne for being our presenting sponsor, as always, here on the Cyclone Fanatic Podcast.
Hey, wear your white. You wore white today.
I did. I wore this white shirt just to get everybody fired up.
Again, Campbell, that's why I love the guy. It's white out week. He comes to his press conference in like a dark sweatshirt.
Yeah.
Campbell's like, I don't care.
The man in black.
Will Campbell wear white on Saturday?
I hope not. I hope he goes all black.
Like, I don't... Is he physically allowed to wear white?
I hope not. I want him to wear black.
His essence?
You're Matt F. and Campbell.
Yeah,
you wear
we're
whatever
black.
you want.
Matt, wear black, please.
Don't give in.
Don't give in, pal.
He's Brent Blum. I'm Chris Williams. We will be back on Sunday night.